What's going on, you guys? This is Christian, aka Cloudless, here on Cloudless Media. Welcome back to another video essay here on Cloudless Media. If you guys have been enjoying my Cloudless Nightlife notes or my post-event afterthoughts, be sure to give these videos a like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section if you can relate to my stories here, my thoughts. Anyways, got a new one for you guys. This one is called "The Room Wasn't Full," and this is referring to the Pink Yacht Club event at Monsters Inc. last Saturday. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hair is absolutely crazy this evening. Welcome back to Cloudless Media. I'm Christian, aka Cloudless. I didn't really want to animate this video, just a little lazy, so I decided, you know what, why don't I just record my workout again, and that'll be the background for this video. So I hope you guys enjoy watching me on the bike. I'm going to be on the cycle today, my Nordic Track cycle. I'm doing a quick bike ride, yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Opening. The room wasn't full. At the Pink Yacht Club event at Monsters Inc. last Saturday, I ended up talking to a guy who had never been there before. He seemed to love the place. He liked the music, he liked the venue, and from what I could tell, he was genuinely having a good time. But he kept coming back to one thing. Why wasn't the place packed? He couldn't believe there weren't more people there. And every time he brought it up, I gave him another possible explanation. There were a lot of things happening around Indy that weekend. Some people probably went out the night before and were tired. Other people might have been at different clubs or bars or events around the city. Eventually, he and his friend decided to leave and go to a strip club. At the time, I didn't think much about it. People leave clubs and go somewhere else all the time. Maybe they were looking for a different kind of night. But the conversation stayed with me, because the more I thought about it, the more I realized that, assuming I was reading him correctly, I used to be that guy. I used to walk into a venue and immediately start measuring the room. Is it packed? Are there attractive women there? Are people dancing? Does everyone else look like they're having a good time? And even if I liked the music or thought the venue was cool, if the room didn't give me the right answers, the night could immediately start to feel disappointing. It's strange looking back on that now, because these days, I'm often one of the first people on the dance floor. Sometimes, I'm the only person on the dance floor. And somehow, that doesn't embarrass me anymore. In fact, if I feel good and a song comes on that I love, part of me wants people to see me dancing and singing, even if the only other people in the room are the DJ and the bartender. Younger me would have never done that. Younger me would have left early, gone home embarrassed, and somehow turned the whole thing into a traumatic core memory. So when did that change? When did I stop needing the room to come alive before I could come alive inside it? And that sounded super weird, straight to the gutter. All right, let's move on to the next section. Section 1, I used to be that guy. When I was younger, I thought the crowd was part of the proof that I had chosen the right place to be. A packed room meant something was happening. People were dancing, people were flirting, attractive women were around. Everybody looked like they had somewhere to be, and somehow, just being in the middle of that made the night feel important. But if I walked into a club and there were only a handful of people there, the entire mood could change for me almost immediately. It didn't matter if the DJ was good. It didn't matter if I liked the venue. It didn't even matter if the music was something I would have listened to at home. If the room felt empty, then the night felt empty. And looking back, I don't think that was really about the number of people. I think it was about permission. When a dance floor was packed, I could disappear into it. Nobody was paying attention to me because there were too many other people moving, drinking, talking, and making fools of themselves. I didn't have to be confident. The crowd could be confident for me. But if the dance floor was empty, there was nowhere to hide. If I started dancing, I might be the person everyone noticed. And even though I had gone to a club where dancing was literally the activity, somehow dancing without enough people around felt embarrassing. I would become hyper aware of everything. What am I doing with my arms? Do I look stiff? Is somebody laughing? Do I look like I'm trying too hard? Does everyone else know something that I don't? And the strange thing is, most people probably weren't even watching me at all. They were probably having their own conversations, checking their phones, ordering drinks, or worrying about how they looked. But anxiety has a way of placing a spotlight over your head that nobody else can see. Unless I had friends with me, or enough alcohol in me, I could spend the whole night standing near the edge of the room, waiting for the event to become safe enough to participate in. Waiting for more people to dance, waiting for the right song, waiting for somebody else to make the first move. And if none of that happened quickly enough, I might decide the club was dead and leave. That was easier than admitting that I was too self-conscious to enjoy myself. It was easier to blame the venue. There weren't enough people. The crowd wasn't attractive enough. The energy was off. Nobody was dancing. And maybe some of that was true. Not every event is good, and sometimes the energy is really bad. But I also think I was asking the room to do something it could never fully do. I was asking it to make me comfortable with myself. I was going out with the intention of having a good time, but I was still depending on strangers to show me what having a good time was supposed to look like. And if they weren't performing it convincingly enough, I didn't know how to create it for myself. That's why the conversation at the Pink Yacht Club event stayed with me. Again, I don't know exactly what the guy was thinking. Maybe he simply wanted a bigger crowd. Maybe he and his friend had always planned to go somewhere else. Maybe the strip club was just the next stop. But hearing him repeatedly talk about how the place should have been packed reminded me of the way I used to evaluate a night. I would walk into a room and start looking for evidence that it was worth staying. Now, I think I walk in looking for a reason to participate. And that change didn't happen because I finally found the perfect crowd. It happened because one night, I found a place that made me forget to look for one. Section 2. The Descent. Before my first indulgence, I had already gone to one goth event in Indy. It was held at a punk rock bar called the Melody Inn, and I had been there a few times before. I liked the bar. I liked the atmosphere. I was interested in the event. But none of that stopped me from being nervous. I still felt anxious, still felt alone, still felt like I had to figure out what I was supposed to do with myself. A few weeks later, I went to indulgence for the first time. It was also my first time at Monsters, Inc. I remember getting dressed in an outfit I had not worn in years. My original black faux fur hat and a straitjacket and my black Jason mask. It was not exactly an outfit designed to help me blend into the background. But when I first walked inside, the feeling was familiar. Nervous, anxious, alone. Everyone is looking at me. Maybe, maybe not. Before going to the bar, I decided to scout the place. Almost immediately, I was in love. I had never been inside a horror-themed event venue before. There were monsters and props everywhere. The kind of place where even walking from one room to another felt like part of the experience. In the main room, they were playing classic goth rock songs, and people were already dancing. Then, I found the stairs leading down into the basement. The dungeon. The ceilings were low, the hallways were narrow, the rooms were tight, monsters were hiding everywhere. And the bass. My God, the bass. I descended those stairs, heard the music, and something in me just switched off. Not the part of me that was paying attention, the part of me that was paying attention to myself. Every time I had gone to the castle in Ybor City, Florida, I loved the building and the atmosphere. On any given night, there could be 3 or 4 dance floors open, each playing a different kind of goth or alternative music. But I was always hoping to hear songs I knew. Sometimes I would get lucky and hear a couple. At my first indulgence, I recognized song after song after song. I knew the words to some of them. Others were songs I had heard before, but maybe could not name. I would guess I was familiar with at least 40 or 50% of the set. And even now, because indulgence happens regularly, songs that were once unfamiliar have started to feel familiar. I hear them enough that I get excited when they come back into rotation. That first night though, everything felt new and familiar at the same time. The music, the horror imagery, the darkness, the bass, the outfit I was wearing, it all fit together. At some point, I stopped wondering who was looking at me. I stopped thinking about whether I looked awkward. I stopped asking myself whether I was dancing correctly. I was just dancing. For a moment, I remember wishing my wife could have been there to see it. Then I remembered that she does not really enjoy club or dance music for very long, and after a while, it gives her a headache. So I took a few pictures to show her later, and then I went back to dancing. The rest of the night is honestly kind of a blur, and not because nothing happened, but because I was too immersed in it to keep recording every moment in my head. I might as well have been dancing alone at home. That is how comfortable I became. Except I was not at home. I was in a basement full of strangers, dressed in a faux fur hat, straitjacket, and Jason mask. And somehow, for the first time, being seen did not feel like being exposed. It felt like I had finally found somewhere I belonged. Section 3, Forgetting to Watch Myself. Looking back, I don't think Monsters, Inc. taught me that nobody was watching me. People probably were watching me. I was wearing a giant black faux fur hat, a straitjacket, and a Jason mask while dancing alone in a horror-themed basement. I was not exactly invisible. The difference was that for the first time, I had found something I cared about more than whether people were watching me. The music had more of my attention than the room did. The bass had more of my attention than my anxiety did. And somewhere in that dungeon, I stopped viewing myself from the outside. I think that was one of my biggest problems when I was younger. Even when I was supposed to be enjoying myself, part of me was always standing somewhere else watching. Watching how I moved. Watching how other people reacted. Watching to see whether I looked comfortable. Watching to see whether I looked like someone who belongs there. It was like I could never fully experience the moment because I was too busy reviewing my performance in real time. And once you start doing that, every movement feels unnatural. You think about your hands, so suddenly you don't know what to do with them. You think about your face, so suddenly every expression becomes forced. You think about dancing, and now you're not really dancing anymore. You're trying to create the appearance of someone who is dancing. That night, I stopped doing that. Not because I gave myself some motivational speech. Not because I suddenly decided to become fearless. I just became too absorbed in the experience to continue supervising myself. And maybe that is what confidence sometimes looks like. We usually talk about confidence as if it means walking into a room and knowing nobody's opinion can affect you. And maybe that is true for some people. But for me, confidence did not begin with learning how to ignore the room. It began with finding something that made me forget to monitor myself inside of it. I still notice people. I still enjoy being noticed. And honestly, part of the fun of putting together these outfits is knowing that people are going to see them. I spend too much time sewing, building, programming LEDs, and trying to make everything survive hours of dancing to pretend I don't want anybody to look. But wanting to be seen is different from needing someone's reaction before you allow yourself to have fun. That was the real shift. Before, attention felt like judgment. Now, attention can feel like participation. Someone might see me dancing and think I look ridiculous. Someone else might see me and feel more comfortable stepping onto the dance floor. Most people probably look for a few seconds and then return to whatever they were already doing. But none of those possibilities determines whether I keep dancing. I'm already inside the experience. And the strange thing is, the less I obsess over how I'm being perceived, the more comfortable I become with being visible. These days, I can be dressed for a goth night, covered in faux fur and LEDs, or I can still be wearing my work clothes. If I feel good and a song comes on that I love, I want to sing. I want to dance. Sometimes, I want people to see me doing it. Not because I need them to tell me I'm cool, I just don't feel the same urge to hide my enjoyment anymore. There was a time when being the only person dancing would have felt like proof that I was doing something wrong. Now, I've been the only person dancing more times than I can count. Sometimes I don't even realize it. I get lost in the music, the lights, and whatever world the DJ is creating. The room around me starts to fade until someone walks into my peripheral vision and reminds me that other people are there. Then I look around and realize, oh, I've been out here by myself. And then I keep dancing. Younger me would have considered that a nightmare. He would have looked around, realized nobody else was on the floor, and immediately tried to act like he had only walked out there to find someone. Then he would have escaped to the bar, checked his phone, or left early enough to pretend the night had simply been boring. And later, the embarrassment would have grown much larger in his memory than it ever was in the actual room. Now, that same moment can feel peaceful. There is no crowd to disappear into. There is no one else supplying the energy. There is just me, the music, and the decision to participate anyway. That first indulgence did not instantly transform every part of my personality. My confidence had already been growing through bartending, running, making videos, creating things, and generally becoming happier with my life. And I still have moments where I feel awkward, anxious, or overly aware of myself. But that night gave the changes happening inside me somewhere to become physical. I could feel them in a way I moved. I could feel them in the fact that I stayed. I can feel them in the way the night became a blur. Not because I was trying to forget myself, but because for once, I was no longer watching myself from a distance. I was actually there. Section 4, becoming part of the event. I think that night changed what I believed my role was supposed to be when I went out. Before, I treated nightlife like something I was there to evaluate. Was the DJ good? Was the crowd big enough? Were there attractive people there? Did the room have enough energy? Was this night worth my time? I entered as a customer, waiting for the night to prove itself to me. And of course, there's nothing wrong with having standards. Some DJs are better than others. Some events are badly organized. Some rooms really are dead. But I think I used to underestimate how much the people attending an event are responsible for creating the event too. The DJ can play an incredible set. The organizers can build the atmosphere. The bartender can keep the drinks moving. But eventually, someone has to walk onto the dance floor. Somebody has to react. Somebody has to let the room know that the music is landing. These days, I'm much more willing to be that person. I'm not just going to an event. I'm going to be part of the event. That does not mean I walk into every club determined to put on a show. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes the music is not doing anything for me. Sometimes I am perfectly happy sitting at the bar and talking. And sometimes it's a dubstep night at Monsters Inc. And I question every decision that brought me there. But when the music connects with me, I no longer feel like I need to wait for the room to approve my reaction. If I want to dance, I dance. If I know the words, I sing them. Almost every time. If the floor is empty, then the floor is empty. That does not mean the song is any less good, obviously. And I have started to realize that visible enjoyment has an effect on a room. People look toward movement. They notice when someone is completely absorbed in what they are doing. One person dancing does not instantly fill a floor. But sometimes it makes the floor feel available. Sometimes another person steps out, and then another. And suddenly, what looked like a dead room a few moments ago starts to feel like an event. I don't take full credit for that, obviously, but I've learned that energy is not only something you receive, it is also something you contribute. That is what happened at the Pareo rave at the Rabbit Hole downtown. The room was already packed, the music was incredible, people were dancing everywhere. I didn't have to create the atmosphere, but I still wanted to give something back to it. I wanted to dance so hard, enjoy myself so visibly, and become so fully involved that people might start wondering whether the organizers had paid me to be there. And honestly, that is one of my favorite ways to describe the kind of night I want now. I want to have such a good time that my presence looks professionally arranged. Like somebody looked at the room and said, okay, we have the DJ, we have the lights, we have the bar, but we still need one overdressed man in a giant furry hat dancing like this event is the most important thing happening in the city tonight. Let's call Christian. This is very different now from how I used to think. Before, I needed the people around me to convince me that the night was exciting. Now, I sometimes want my enjoyment to convince someone else. Not because I need to be the center of attention, not because I believe every room needs me to save it, but because I know what it feels like to stand at the edge of a dance floor waiting for evidence that it's safe to step forward. Sometimes the evidence is simply another person who is not afraid to look ridiculous. And maybe I can be that person for someone. Maybe someone sees me dancing alone and thinks, well, he clearly doesn't care. Maybe I should go out there too. Or maybe they watch me for a moment, laugh to themselves, and continue drinking. Either way, I'm still having a good time. That is the freedom I did not understand when I was younger. The room does not have to be full before I participate in it. The room does not have to arrive fully formed. Sometimes you help create the thing you were hoping to find. And once I understood that, going out stopped feeling like a search for the right crowd. It started feeling like an opportunity to bring something into the room with me. Section 5. What are we going out for? That conversation at the Pink Yacht Club event also made me think about what people are actually looking for when they go clubbing. When I think about concerts or festivals, it seems obvious that people are going for the whole experience. The performer, the music, the crowd, the lights, the outfits, the atmosphere, the feeling of temporarily entering a different world. Of course, people still flirt, they meet strangers, they hope something unexpected happens. But those things usually feel like part of the experience rather than the only reason the experience matters. When I think about clubbing though, especially the version of it I grew up seeing in movies and music videos, there always seems to be another expectation underneath it. Who is going to be there? Who am I going to meet? Who can I dance with? Who might find me attractive? Am I leaving with somebody? And if none of those things happen, was the night even worth it? Maybe that is not how most people think. I can only speak from my own experience and from what I have observed. But I know that when I was younger, attraction played a larger role in how I judged a room. If a club was packed with women I found attractive, the night immediately seemed more promising. If it was not, then even good music could start feeling like background noise for an event that had failed to deliver its main attraction. I might have said I was going out to dance or have fun, and I probably believed it. But somewhere underneath it, I was also hoping the night would provide attention, validation, or possibility. Something that would prove I had not just gotten dressed, driven across town, paid for parking, and stood in a loud room for no reason. There is nothing wrong with wanting to meet someone. There is nothing wrong with flirting, dancing with a stranger, feeling desired, or hoping the night becomes more intimate. Those are real parts of nightlife. And depending on the event, they may be part of the entire point. But if another person becomes the only thing that can make the night successful, then your enjoyment is almost completely outside of your control. The DJ can play an incredible set. The venue could be beautiful. Your outfit could look exactly how you imagined it. You can dance harder than you have in months. Months. But if nobody approaches you, nobody goes home with you, or nobody makes you feel chosen, the entire night can still feel like a failure. I think that was part of why empty rooms bothered me so much. Fewer people meant fewer possibilities, fewer chances to be noticed, fewer chances for the night to become something more than it already was. Now, I think I have almost reversed that order. The event comes first. The music comes first. The atmosphere comes first. The chance to dress differently, move differently, and become part of a temporary world comes first. Meeting someone can still add to the night. A conversation can make it more memorable. A moment of attraction can make it more exciting. A non-verbal connection on the dance floor can stay with you long after the music stops. But those things are bonuses. They are not the price the night has to pay in order to justify itself. And maybe that sounds obvious. Unfortunately, I did not really understand, or at least accept it, until my 30s. I spent lots of nights waiting for something to happen to me, waiting for the room to fill, waiting for my friends to loosen me up, waiting for alcohol to make me less aware of myself, waiting for an attractive stranger to turn an ordinary night into a story worth telling. Now, I understand that the event is already happening. The music is already playing. The lights are already moving. The room is already there. The only question is whether I'm willing to enter it. Maybe that is why I enjoy Goth Night so much now. I'm not arriving with the expectation that the room owes me a particular kind of attention. I'm arriving with something of my own. An outfit I spent weeks building. A body I trained so I could keep dancing. Songs I've learned through years of hearing them. A version of myself that does not get to exist in exactly the same way anywhere else. I'm still here for the people. I'm still there for the people. People are part of what makes nightlife feel alive. But I'm no longer waiting for strangers to become the entire experience. I want to experience the event itself, and anything else that happens can become part of the story. Closing. The room didn't change. When I think back to that conversation at the Pink Yacht Club event at Monsters Inc., I don't think the guy was necessarily wrong. The venue probably should have been more crowded. The music was good, the space was interesting. There were enough things happening that night to make you wonder why more people weren't there. And maybe he simply wanted a different kind of energy than the room could give him. That's fair. But what stayed with me was how familiar his disappointment felt. He looked around and saw what was missing. More people, more excitement, more possibilities. I looked around and saw an event that had already started. The music was playing, the lights were moving, the DJ was working, the bartender was there, the room was waiting. And I think that is the difference between who I was and who I am now. I used to walk into a club and ask whether the night was good enough for me. Now, I'm more likely to ask whether I'm willing to give myself to it. Not every event deserves that. Some nights really are bad. Some DJs do not connect with me at all. Some crowds feel strange. Some rooms never come alive. And again, sometimes it is dubstep night. But I no longer assume that a quiet room is an empty experience. Sometimes a quiet room gives you more space to move, more space to notice the music, more space to stop performing for strangers and actually feel what brought you there. Sometimes the person dancing alone is not someone who failed to find a crowd. Sometimes he is someone who no longer needs one to begin. I do not know what that guy found at the strip club or wherever he went. Maybe he and his friend had a great time. Maybe that was exactly the kind of night they were looking for. But his decision to leave reminded me of all the nights when I left early because the room had not given me enough permission to stay. All the music I did not dance to. All the moments I dismissed because nobody else looked exciting enough. All the memories I never had because I was waiting for the event to happen to me. I cannot get those nights back, but I can walk into the next room differently. I can wear the outfit. I can step onto the floor. I can sing when the song comes on. I can let myself become visible without treating visibility like a threat. I can stop waiting for strangers to prove that the night matters, because the room does not always come alive on its own. Sometimes somebody has to move first. I used to need the room to come alive before I could come alive inside it. Now, sometimes, I'm willing to be the first sign that the night has started. This has been Christian, aka Cloudless with Cloudless Media. I really hope you guys enjoyed this post-event afterthought, afterthought video essay. It's my latest one from my last, night outing. I'm pretty much at Monsters Inc. Quite often. I'm there at least once a month, every third Saturday at Indulgence, with the what are they called? The Dead Goth Lounge. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm there every Thursday. Every third Saturday in Irvington. So that's on the east side of Indy. If you want to come hang out. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for listening or watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, maybe share, leave a comment if you guys can relate. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.